Hello and welcome. It's Francis here. Thank you for coming back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I bid thee welcome. There is a subscribe button below if you would like to help support this channel by subscribing. Also a bell to be notified as to when I upload more content. I'm coming to you from Ghana country, and as such, I acknowledge the Ghana people of the Adelaide Plains as being the traditional custodians of the lands upon which I reside. So this video is going to be another astrological video. We do have a lot happening, especially in this first part of the year. And I want to talk about the lunar node transit that will be taking place just prior to the full moon on the 12th of January. So currently the nodes are in Aries for the North Node and Libra for the South Node. And they'll be moving into Pisces and Virgo because they actually move backwards throughout the zodiac as opposed to the planets who move forward. And they will be staying in these signs for the next 18 months, so until about July 2026. So what are the nodes? What does all this mean? I do have a section in my book on Earth Silver Rays about the nodes on page 110, also a bit of a diagram here as well, just sort of showing that the nodes are actually in relation to the orbit of the moon and are points in space where the moon path actually cuts through the ecliptic. As we can see here, that dotted line is the ecliptic with the moon, and we have the South Node and the North Node there. Now, for those who may be new to my channel, I'm not an astrologer. I just have a healthy interest in astrology, and I do refer to astrologers whose information that resonates with me I've sort of gathered together for these sort of podcasts, and I do link them below. So I do recommend that you check out their work. And one of the astrologers that I tend to follow is Pam Gregory. And she mentions that these nodes are actually electromagnetic points in space. That's why they are quite important. So when we are born, we do have nodal or natal nodal axes in our own chart. And what I'll be sharing here is the bigger picture. So this is sort of the transiting nodes, which actually will affect the collective, everyone else. The North Node is considered to be our future direction, while the South Node is in relation to our karmic past, what we've already received. And sometimes it can relate to sort of issues that we've sort of dragged in that are not quite resolved. And the two do sort of work together, like we have to relinquish the South Node before we can move forward with the North Node, because the two are on this axis opposite each other. And added to this, the eclipses that occur are often heralding in major, if not permanent, life changes or changing moments for us, and these only happen when the new moons and the full moons are actually close to this nodal axis, and this is why the eclipses are usually in the same house as the nodes. So, and I'm probably jumping ahead of myself here, on the 14th of March, we will have our lunar eclipse, though it will still be in the old nodal axis, so it'll be in Virgo. While on the 29th of March, we will have the solar eclipse, which will be in Aries. And then in September, we will have the first of this new nodal axis with the lunar eclipse in Pisces taking place on the 7th of September, and a total eclipse, that will be a total lunar eclipse, and there will be a partial solar eclipse on the 21st of September in Libra. Now, these days might actually spend into, I think, the lunar eclipse may actually either be on the 7th or the 8th, depending on where you are in the world, but close to those times. No doubt the astrologers, as well as myself, will be talking a little bit more about them. So we've got this nodal transit, especially focusing in on the North Node, which is our future direction. And it's interesting because we're moving into Pisces, and the planetary ruler of Pisces is Neptune, and Neptune is currently conjunct the North Node, which is around 0 degrees of Aries. And the 0 point is considered to be like the initiating point. But it'll be interesting because this conjunction between Neptune and the North Node is going to continue until the end of March, really sort of emphasizing this Piscean energy. And there'll be an exact conjunction on the 7th of February. Now, Neptune will then be at what they call the anaretic or the chaotic degree point of Pisces, which is 29 degrees. It's the last degree point of the sign. And it'll be at that point all throughout March. And this sort of brings up the shadowy underbelly of the planet that it is at. So Neptunian stuff. So it's still very watery, but yeah, a lot of illusions and sort of mistruths, and also highlighting, because of this connection in with Pisces, water, big water. So there could be flooding, and I think I mentioned in the video about the full moon, and we've already had some floods this year on New Year's Day. I think there's parts of northwest England, and later in South Africa, but other water issues. So it could be what we're doing to our waterways is beginning to be highlighted. Our seas, our oceans, our rivers. It could be the control of water, the limitation of water or fresh drinking water. There seems to be an ongoing issue in certain places of the world, especially, say, in America and also here in Australia, when it comes to mining or fracking next to waterways, also industry polluting water. It could also relate to fishing and shipping industries, and all that sort of thing, all connected with water. Interesting enough, only recently, like this week, I have had to have, say, the cistern of my toilet replaced in my house. So that's water related as well. Oops, sorry about that. So yeah, so there'll be its emphasis on water. But before we explore sort of this axis between Pisces and Virgo, I just want to mention this 0 degree point of Aries. As I said, it's known as the Aries point or the initiating point. It's the start of the zodiac wheel, which is 360 degrees. And according to another astrologer that I follow, who's Molly McCord, she believes that this is a significant point because it brings our attention to more global matters and what we are moving towards. So Aries is all about I am, the sense of self, and the direction that we are heading into. And she says that on a collective level, especially during 2025, 2026, going to have first Saturn reaching this degree point for the first time in 30 years, as well as Neptune reaching this exact degree point, 0 degrees of Aries, for the first time in 165 years. So that's quite significant because it means that when the North Node crosses this point, it will be highlighting what we as a collective will be working with, especially when Neptune itself reaches this point, because Neptune is about dissolving, removing. It sort of questions what we've been trying to initiate this at 0 degrees. And this is because Neptune wants us to sort of bring it up a level, bring in a higher spiritual wisdom, really sort of get in touch with our heart center and operating from that as opposed to our head. There is also a need to integrate our sort of soul and spiritual selves into our personal identity. Personal identity is Aries. And Saturn is encouraging us to earth this into physical reality, as opposed to being all sort of wishy-washy and good ideas, but nothing is practical and nothing is happening on the earth plane that we live in. So coming back to this Pisces Virgo axis, I said as the nodes move backwards, they are actually at the analytical case degree point of their sign. So the first move into 29 degrees of Pisces for the North Node and 29 to 0 degrees of Virgo for the South Node. And when they do this, this could actually mean, especially around the 12th and the 13th, so this is impacting on the full moon, which is all about endings and culminations and reaping what we're sowing. It's sort of asking us, or it's making us feel like we're in a void, the cosmic sea. It's a time for complete surrender, to sort of sense really into this nothingness and trust our own energy, learning to ebb and flow with basically the greater cosmic unfoldings that may not necessarily be revealed at this current point in time. So there is a lot about trust. And I know in the last number of years, our ability to trust has really had a bit of a hammering. And this is about personal self-trust, trust in the bigger plan, our connection into the bigger scheme of things. And that the more that we align with this ebb and flow, especially of the cosmos, we align ourselves with the cosmic energies, the better it's going to be for us. We're not going to keep hanging on to what needs to be surrendered and let go. And this in turn enables us more to then step into the energetics that will be brought towards us throughout this year and onwards. So Pam Gregory has pointed out that this Pisces Virgo axis is considered to be the health axis. It's associated with blood, the immune system, viruses, and therefore she recommends that throughout the next 18 months, could be a really good time, especially if you've had New Year's resolutions, to really seriously consider looking after your health. Go on that diet, go to the gym, get more exercise done. Look at the foods that you're consuming and the amounts of food. Really read those labels to see what's in the food, because these days there are so many preservatives, and that's all adding to the increased obesity. I know. These are things that I've been telling myself as well. And it's quite interesting because Virgo is connected to detoxification and purifying. So again, we've got this letting go aspect from the South Node, and we've got this need to become more and more healthy, looking after ourselves, taking responsibility again, coming in from the North Node. And there's another interesting cosmic happening that's going to be taking place over the next 18 months. And that's the fact that all of the outer planets are going to be changing signs. Now, we've already had Pluto change sign. It's moved from Capricorn into Aquarius late last year. And the rest are going to be doing that as well. And this is indicating a very active period of transformation for humanity. Where it goes, I think, that depends on us. There is also a remembering, coming into our awareness, our collective consciousness of our sacred connection with Earth, with Gaia Pachamama, and the bountiful healing properties that she gifts us. So whether this is through plant medicine, through the increasing awareness that this is taking place within the mainstream, but also homeopathy, herbal medicines, all nature's gifts. Pam Gregory also points out that this Pisces Virgo axis could further indicate a dissolving of employment, especially with the influence of Pisces. That's the dissolving aspects. So we've got Pluto has moved into Aquarius. That's all about AI. Virgo is connected with employment. So there could be more AI being used. We're seeing this being used. We're seeing a lot of creative people expressing their concerns about the use of AI taking over, while some are really embracing it for their work. There could be also more robotics being used within the workplace. So this Piscean energy is very fluid. So we may need to start becoming more fluid in the working environment. As I said, some artistic friends of mine either love AI, really incorporate it into their work, while others don't like it at all. So it's just like finding boundaries, finding this happy medium and how we're going to utilize it. Pisces is also in relation to the media. And we're getting more and more sources available to us, more and more communications coming in. So this could end up being a total overwhelm of all this information, which is Virgo, coming into us, and we finding ourselves in a position where we're not able to make sense of things. It's already happening now. These sort of false truths and fake news and so on. We do not know how reliable the sources are. So our trust compass has had a real bashing over the last number of years. And as such, this could be an added element of delusionment, especially if, say, we've been led to believe something, like our belief systems, and then this veil is beginning to drop, and we are now exposing the truth or the deception. And that can also lead to a very strong feeling of again, not knowing who to trust, emotional overwhelmed, and it's just like feeling that we can't trust any. So especially when we are finding that we're getting battered by all these external news sources, shall we say, Virgo is also connected with simple daily practices, especially in the ways of regaining groundedness. And this is important to help us make sense, especially when we start to feel more and more disillusioned with what is being revealed to us. And when that occurs, when the external world is getting more and more confused, it's good to sort of wind our focus back and come back home. And one good way to do that is coming back to the body, coming back to our simple practices, especially spiritual practices. Because Pisces and Neptune, again, there's a spiritual element coming through with this. So this is our connection to spirit, God, goddess, ancestors, higher guardian angel, higher consciousness, whatever rocks your boat, so to speak. So it might be prayer, it might be setting up altars. I've got a basic one behind me with a collection of bits and bobs, lighting a few candles, getting into a meditation practice, spending some time in reflection, taking up mantras and malas. Having said that, I've just broken my mala, so I'm in the process of remaking my new one. Sitting out in nature, getting out in nature. Nature's really good to help calming us. Or maybe exercise is a good one for you. Even practicing gratitude, even if the thing that you're grateful for could be very minute and almost seeming irrelevant, like being able to get out of bed in the morning. To other people, they may just dismiss that, but for some people, that could be extremely important. And there is I think he's an ex-army or Marine commander or something. I can't remember his name. But I remember listening to him or hearing about him, and he does a lot of work with return service people, especially those suffering from depression and post-traumatic stress disorder, where he says, if you make your bed every morning, get out of bed and make it, and that is probably the most important thing you can do, because sometimes that could be the only thing that you do. Yet you've achieved one thing. And you should congratulate yourself for that. And following on that theme, I know that when I do my evening dishes, and it doesn't matter if it's like just a cup or a glass, a plate, or a whole kit and caboodle, it really changes my energetics. It really lifts me up the next morning, as I'm not walking into a kitchen and being faced with dirty pots and pans. So it's all about sort of creating that space and really doing the dishes itself. I'm probably the only person in the world who doesn't have a dishwasher. I look out my kitchen window. I've got a bird bath there, which I've just cleaned, and I don't know what the pigeons do in it, but they always make a mess. But that is almost like a meditation practice in itself. And I think the late Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh actually was talking about meditation at the kitchen sink. Just being mindful, coming back, bringing your focus back to even simple practices. Walking, there's a walking meditation, being more consciously aware of what you're doing. And that can help with this sensory overload that we could very well be going through. It also helps us in regaining a sense of balance and calmness within, which can assist, especially as Pisces brings in this sort of fogginess, the sort of sense of illusion, the blurring between realities. And it is this blurring of realities that can be heightened due to the increase of AI in our lives. So this is all becoming increasingly important to come back to our heart center, coming back to our bodies, coming back to being grounded in our sense of reality, in our own truth, not the egocentric head truth, but a more spiritual or soul aligned truth. And in esoteric circles, this is called true will. So if you are in Adelaide, I do have a full moon gathering coming up just after this transit. So it could be very interesting if you want to come down. It is the Yemaya Blessing of the Waters. It's held usually around the first full moon of each year, where we go down to the water's edge and leave offerings for Yemaya, who is a Roshi of the waters, asking her for protection of the sea creatures, of the waterways, blessings, which seems to be the theme of this new lunar transit. So I'll link below details about Yemaya Blessing of the Waters. It's held at Largs Bay Beach on Monday the 13th. We're going to be meeting in the Northern Car Park at about quarter to 8 because of daylight savings time. And the offering biodegradable or ecologically friendly. A pebble or a shell is perfect. You might want to bring some flowers. So I will link the information on the website. You'll find that below as well. And also below, you'll find links to some of the other courses and happenings that I are having over the year or the first part of the year, especially through the Adult Learning Centre, the WEA here in Adelaide. Also the College of Psychic Studies in London. On Saturday the 25th, I've got my next presentation there, which is Dundera, Hathor, and the Breath of Creation. And in March, I'm actually doing an online presentation or 3-hour course on the moon. And we'll be taking some information from my moon book. Don't forget to, if you go to the Mystical Soul Academy, you can sign up to my free newsletter and you will find out more about this. So I'm going to stop there. Going to be interesting the next 18 months with this Pisces, Virgo, Lunar node axis. If you do have your birth chart, you might want to have a look to see where what houses will be sort of being triggered at this time. What house is the boundary between Pisces and Aries for you, and also the opposing Libra and Virgo. Also see where your own natal nodes are. And